That's the data analysis. But when we say data analytics, that's like a broader version of data analysis. That's when you start using some tools, you start using some techniques, you start using some techniques to predict your future outcomes. You want to try to optimize your decision, or you want to even automate one or two process. So, and when we say analytics, they are categorized in different forms. It can either be descriptive, it can either be prescriptive or diagnostic. So there are different forms of data analytics. So for today, the three prerequisites for today's session is first, we need to be interested. That's the first thing. If you are not interested, then there's nothing that will be said that you would want to assimilate. You just let this person be saying whatever he wants to say, as far as I'm not interested. So the first thing, we need to be interested. So anything we feel will distract us, let's try as much as possible to deal with them for these 2 to 3 hours that will be carrying out the session. And we need to be able to operate our computers. We need to be literate. We need to be conversant with our keyboard. We need to understand how to enable some characters on our keyboard. And the last is we should have Excel installed on our system from 2016 upward. If you feel you don't have 2016 or you don't have Excel on your PC, you can also download WPS on your system. That would also work fine. And please, if I'm too fast, kindly notify me if I'm too fast, please. And I will be looking at our overview for today. So when we make use of Excel, don't fidget much because you'd notice that you have so much functions on your Excel, but there are some basic operations that you need to know. There are some functions, there are some formulas that you need to know that would make your skill up to par. There are some things in Excel that when someone asks you and you say you don't know it, then it means, oh, this person is not ready to perform any data analysis. So if you look at what we have here, you can see that the basic spreadsheet operation is bold. If you look at the way it has been cascaded down from the basic spreadsheet down to the macros, that's the hierarchy of importance. If you are good with the first three or the first four, then it means you are good to go. If you know how to use your basic operation, how to use your formulas very well, how to use your pivot tables, then how you can use your charts to visualize what you've analyzed. Then if you now want to move advanced, you want to start automating your activities, you want to create models, you want to run macros, then you can now say, okay, let's know how to use Power Query, Pivot, and macros. But the basic ones that you need to know that are essential are the basic operations, the formulas, the pivot table, and the charts. So when we ask ourselves, we keep saying Excel, 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 Excel. What does this Excel actually do? So the major thing Excel does is three. The first is to hold our data. If you look at Case Electric today, we have status 2 and 4, we have customer listing, we have transaction listing, we have different kind of, we have a grid file. What we do is we just use them to hold our data, we use them to store our data. If you decide that you want to filter your data, you want to sort your data in a way that it will be comfortable for you, you can use your Excel to do that. However, it has its own limitation also. When your data is getting large to some extent, then it starts hanging. That's when you can say, okay, you want to store your data on a database. But before you can store a data that the Excel won't be able to handle, then you should know you are talking of millions of data. So you also use your Excel to make calculations. So we have over 400 formulas in Excel, and every month, every year, it's being updated. So you can use to perform many operations. If you are in the world of the finance sector, you have functions dedicated for them. If you are in the world of mathematics sector, you can, there are different formulas for each sector. So you can be using Excel in IE now, then you go to finance and they are bringing up some formula. Then you'll be like, oh, is it not Excel that I've been using? So there are many formulas in Excel that you can make use of. So it depends on what you want to do, then to perform data analysis. So when we say you perform data analysis, you are trying to break down your data to say, okay, this large data sets that I have, how am I going to break out information from this data that I have? So let's say you own a hospital, then when you get there, the receptionist would request for your name, then they'll write it down. That's the data. Request for your age, write it down. Request for your genotype. Then when you look at it, you see that they would always have a folder in a shelf that they will store it. So gonna do this. So now the same thing, same process. Now it has been computerized. It's not digitalized. Instead of you writing everything in paper, then you can now store it somewhere. You can perform data analysis. You can say, okay, how many customers have hepatitis B? How many customers have high BP? How many customers have low BP? That's when you can now say, oh, how many males above 30 years old has low BP? How many patients above 60 years old have hypertension? That's when you start saying, okay, how would I break this down? How would I present this to my audience so that it would make meaning to them? So if you look at the next slide, I'm sure we all have Excel open on our system. So I would want this class to be interactive. So do we have Excel open on our system? Class, please, do we have, okay, good. Mr. Ogale said, yes, okay, good. So if you look at your Excel, when you open a new workbook, the first thing you will see, let me try to open a new workbook. So this is a workbook. So when you try to open a new workbook, the first thing you see above, you see some icons. They are categorized in different categories. So what this means is, let's use a supermarket to explain this. So when you get to a supermarket, you know you have different sections. You have sections for your baby section, your alcohol section, different section. So what you have in each section differs. Same thing goes to our Excel. When you open your Excel, the icons that you see above, they are your ribbons. So what they do is they house different functions. They have been categorized into different sections. So when you open it, the first thing you'll see is you see your file, then followed by the Home tab. So under the Home, you see different tabs. So if you say, oh, you want to highlight your text, or you say, oh, I want to make my text to be aligned to the right, or to the left. If you decide that, oh, you want to import data from an external source, then you have your insert. So you have different data tab on your Excel. So the combination of all is what we call the ribbon. So it's just like the control center of your Excel. So any command, any action you want to do on your Excel, so it is on the ribbon that you select to say, okay, I want to make my text to be big, I want it to be bold, then you have them on your Excel ribbon. So if you open your Excel, you should have the 6 basics one, the home, inserts, the page layout, formulas, review, and the view. So do we have this on our Excel? Please, if you have that, let's say yes, please. When you open
Yes.
your, okay, good. So this is where you perform your operations. So the Excel that you open, you would notice that you are seeing some tiny boxes around. Those boxes that you are seeing, they are called cells. And if you look above, you'll see the alphabet that's on the top of your Excel. Then on the left-hand side, then you'll see numbers written. So that's your rows. So the intersection of your row and column is what we call cell. Please, we get that. And for every cell, there's an address for every cell. So presently, if you look at where my cell is presently active, I'm on cell F4. It's telling me that I'm on row 4, column F. So if I say, oh, go to G2, so I'm telling you to come to column G, row 2. Do we get that? Please, do we get that?
Yes.
Okay. So if you look at the present cell that is active, so if a cell is active, that's where you have your green cursor highlighting presently. So anytime you select anywhere, you should see, oh, this is where I am presently on. I'm presently on cell what? Now, if you're following, I'm on cell what?
H5.
H5. Okay, good. So if one way or the other you're trying to work on your Excel and you don't know where you are on your Excel, then you're trying to look for the active cell. You have a bar beside your formula bar, which is the name box. It would always tell you the address. It will always tell you your active cell that, oh, presently, this is where you are. If you look at my screen presently, you can see that you don't see the green cursor. You can't see where I am presently. So if I say, oh, presently, where is my active cell? Where am I on my Excel? Now you can't see. But if you go straight to your name box, it will be easy for you to say, oh, this person is on column XFA row 19. And if we look at our Excel, we'll look at it like a typical notebook. So in our notebook, we have different sheets in our notebook. So when you open a workbook, so let's say I click on File and I click on New. I click on this blank workbook. So this is a workbook, just like you have your notebook. This is a workbook. So in your notebook, you now have different sheets. Same thing happens in your Excel, so you can have multiple sheets. How do you now enable the multiple sheets? Is by you clicking on the plus sign beside the sheet one that you have. So as soon as you click on the plus, it means you now have multiple sheets. So presently, I'm on sheet 2. If you decide that, oh, you want to rename the sheet for easy accessibility, so you can say, oh, I want to name this palm. So I'll say, oh, go to sheet palm, or go to palm sheet. Or I can say, oh, this is HR sheet. So, but the combination of all the sheets is what we call workbook. Sometimes we use them interchangeably. Sometimes we say, oh, workbook, sometimes we say sheets. But the ideal one is the entire sheet is a workbook. But when you now say sheet, they are specific. So this is sheet 1, this is palm sheets, and this is HR sheets. So we'll ask ourselves, how do we even navigate in our Excel? How do we move around our Excel? So there are different ways we can navigate in our Excel. Most of the time, what we will use is we make use of our mouse to navigate. You use it to scroll up, you scroll down. You can also use your arrow keys. So if you look at the top right corner here, you can see that we have our arrow keys on our keyboard. So for those that make use of the old keyboards, the arrow keys are separate. Even in our recent keyboards, the arrow keys are still separated. But for some keyboards, they are merged with other characters. So you can use your arrow keys to navigate. You can also use your page up, page down to navigate also. You can also use your go to. So when you say go to, you can just use maybe your shortcut key, say Control G, then you type a particular cell address to say, okay, go to, let's try to, so let's say I say Control G. So I say go to cell B4, and I say, okay. So this will automatically go to B4. So you can use your go-to also to navigate around your Excel. You can either use your scroll bar also. You have your horizontal scroll bar, you have your vertical scroll bar also. So these are the ways you can use to navigate around your Excel worksheet or workbook. While we are trying to make use of our mouse to navigate, or we are trying to use our arrow keys, there are some little things we need to take note of, and which is our cursor. So we have different cursors while we're trying to work in our workbook. So the first one is the selection cursor. If you look closely, my cursor now, if you look at the sign that I have on my cursor, you can see that it's like a white cross. It's a little bit wide. So that's the selection cursor. It's for you to select. When you have your cursor in this form, then you know what you want to do is to select. When you move your cursor down to the rim of your cell, then the cursor changes. The cursor, you can see it. The cursor changes. What this means is you're trying to move your cell. So let's say I have David on cell J5. Then I decide that I want to move this David down to cell G8. What I need to do is just move my cursor to the rim, then click and drag to another location that I want. So that's another type of cursor. So you have your selection cursor, you have your move cursor. So this is your move cursor. So you have your fill handle. Your fill handle. So the way I have David here, this is David. Then I say, oh, I want to duplicate this David. I want to fill it down. If you look at the active cell, you'll see a tiny box underneath here. The moment you move your cursor to that tiny box, then your cursor will change. That's your fill handle. It's for you to fill your cells. So let's say I have David, then I want to fill David down. Then I can say, okay, you click, then you drag down. So this is David. So that's another cursor again. It has a different function. It's just for it to fill our data. And which is this crossbar. If you decide that you want to increase the width or the height of your cell, so I have David Joseph within this cell. If you look at David Joseph, you can see that the Joseph is displaying that is outside the active cell. But in reality, if you look at your formula bar, it still remains within this particular cell. But what we are saying, what you can see is trying to tell you, oh, I'm spilling over to column J. But what is actually happening is it's still within the column I4. If you say, oh, I want to increase the weight, when you move your cursor in between the two columns, then you have another cursor for you to increase the weight. Same thing goes to the height also. You can decide that, oh, you want to increase the height. If you have already typed a data in your cell, you have typed anything, and you want to edit what you have, when you double click the active cell, you will see that your cursor will change. You have it like a capital I. That's like your I-beam cursor. So what this is telling you that your cell is on edit mode. You're trying to edit the active cell. And if you look towards your left-hand side beneath, you will see that you'll have something showing as edit. If you look towards my cursor, you'll see that it is telling me edit. It's showing us that, oh, this active cell that we have is on edit mode. So if you look at all these, you can see that we have different cursors and they have different functions that they perform. Please, do we get that?
Yes, we're following.
Okay, good. And we have the last one, which is the intersection point. So when your cell is on edit mode, you can see that there is a particular cursor that is blinking, that is going up. It's telling us that, oh, if I say, oh, I want you to come before the V or after the V, say I want to type something here. If you say no, okay, I want you to come before the D, that you want to type something here, then that's the function of the intersection cursor. So while you'll be working with your Excel, there are some quick tips that we need to understand how our data are aligned. So if you are working with Excel, numbers are automatically aligned to the right. That's based on the default settings. They are always aligned to the right. Text are always aligned to the left. So when you type something, let's say I have Stella. This is Stella. Stella is automatically aligned to left. If I say I type 56, the 56 is automatically aligned to the right. If when I type true or false, which is our Boolean, true or false, they are always aligned at the center. So the beauty of this is when you are trying to perform one or two analysis, it will be easy for you to know if what you are working with is a text or it's a number. So if you have this 56, so is this 56 a number or a text? So class, is this 56, is it a number or a text?
A text.
So why is it a text?
Because it is aligned to the left.
It's aligned to the left. Thank you. So it is advisable that when you are working with your data, it is when you know that you are through with your analysis or you are through with your report, that's when you can now decide that, okay, you want to align your data to either the right, middle, center. But before that, ensure that you leave it in the default settings so that when there is error, it will be easy for you to trace that, okay, why is this number aligned to left? Is it a text? Why am I performing calculation with a number, whereas it's showing as a text? So it is always easy to detect error. Visually, you can know that, oh, there is something wrong here. And for the Boolean, which is true or false, it is always aligned to the center. So it is smart enough to know that, oh, anytime you type false, it would align it to the center. Are we getting it, please?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Yes.
So we keep saying we want to perform data analysis, we want to make use of Excel. There are some basic operators that we must know and how we'll be able to enable them on our keyboard. So the 4 or the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6 major ones that you would mostly be using. Most of the time, these are the basic operators that you will be using. So how would you enable your plus sign on your keyboard? You press your shift key, then you press your equal to key. If you look at your numbers under your function keys, you would notice that they have 2 characters, which is the numbers and other characters. So if you look at your number 5 now, you should have a percentage as the second character. If you look at your number 8, you should see a star above it as a second character. So if you want to enable those extra characters on those numbers, all you need to do is press your shift key, then press the particular number. So let's say we have 45 and we have 72. And you want to add these two together. So when you type your equal to, you select the 45 and I want to enable my plus. Then I'm saying shift, then I press my equal to sign. Then I select this. So for any character that you want to, for any special character that you want to enable, then you need to press your shift key. So let's say you want to have your 6 raised to power of, let's say 5. You want to multiply your 6 in 5 places. 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. So instead of you saying equals to this times this, then you start selecting. Then you can say, okay, no, I can just say equals to your 6, then you enable your exponential, which is your shift 6, then raised to the power of 5. Then it will do that for you. So if you also want to enable your greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, you would press your shift key, then beside your letter M and beside your character question mark, you should see the greater than sign and the less than sign. Please, if your keyboard doesn't have this, please signify. Okay. Someone is saying I'm too fast. Okay, no problem. So if you look at your keyboard, beside your letter M, you should have the less than sign. So your letter M and question mark, the two characters in between them, that's your greater than and the less than sign. You should have the two characters. So if you want to perform, let's say you have been given a data and you have been told to filter out staffs that their age is greater than or equals to 35. So you can use that also. So filter out staffs that their years of experience is less than or equals to 4. So you should know how you'll be able to enable those characters on your keyboard. So we keep saying formulas, formulas, formulas. So in your Excel, the moment you type equal to in a cell, then it means you want to perform an operation. It means you are saying, oh, you want to perform a formula. It's either you use your basic operator or you use inbuilt formulas that are within Excel. So the equal to sign that you type in your Excel is saying that, oh, this person wants to perform an operation. If you look at our calculator, what you do first is what you want to calculate. Then the last thing you do is you press equal to. On your calculator, you say 2 plus 2, then equals to. But in Excel, what you do is you type the equal to first, then you say 2 plus 2. Then it will now visualize what you've inputted. So initially, before it was turned to Excel, before it was named Excel, it is called VSCAL. So it's a visual calculator. So it will calculate something for you, then you will be able to visualize it. So if you look at here, you look at in our formula bar, you can see that we are referencing that, oh, my cell B2 is multiplying my cell C2, and I'm adding it to cell B3 that is multiplying my C3. So if I say go to the formula bar, you should know what I mean when I say, oh, go to your formula bar. So when I say, oh, input a formula, you should know, oh, this man is saying, oh, I should input equal to first. So for any operation that you want to do, that you want to perform an operation, then it must start with your equal to sign. Please, are we getting it?
Yes.
Okay. So what we have just mentioned, these are the basic knowledge that we need to understand while making use of Excel. If you know how to navigate first, you know how to make use of your basic operators, you know how your data is aligned, you know when you have to change your cursor, you know when your cell is on edit mode, you know when your cell is active, then you are fine. The moment you understand that fundamental, then the next is how you would organize yourself while making use of your Excel. Let's look at it like our typical bedroom. You would have your chair where it's meant to be, you have your bed where it's meant to be, you have your TV where it's meant to be. So I already know, oh, I have the instrument, I have the fundamentals. Oh, I want to type, I am going to school. How is it meant to be aligned? I want to type, oh, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 4. Where is it meant to stay? How do I format this in a proper way? As soon as we understand this, then we are good to go. So I sent out a practice file for us to work on. So please confirm that we all have the practice file. Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. So before we start using the practice file, I'll need us to understand the concept of our number formats. So when we say number formats, how do we want our numbers to be formatted? So if you look at our home tab, you will see that under the home tab, we have numbers where you can format your data in any form. Either you want it to be in short date, long date, general, any number that you type in your Excel, they will always, the default format is general. If you now want to say, oh, you want to change the format, the way you want it to be visualized, then that's when you can now say, oh, I want to change the format to be in currency or in accounting. So let us do a simple practice here. Okay. Then we have 5, 5, 5, 5. So class, take a closer look at this. So why do we have so what we try to do here is we multiply what we have on the left, then we multiply it by what we have on the right. So we did 2 times 5, 2 times 5, 5 times 5, 5 times 5. So who can just give us why we are having 9.5 here? Why is it not 10? So why do we have 9.5 here since we are multiplying 2 times 5? This first 2 times 5 is showing us 10, and the other 2 times 5 is showing us 9.5. Mr. Babajide hand is raised, so you can go ahead, Mr. Babajide.
Okay, so I'm thinking the second two, the one that is giving 9.5 was approximated, so it's not a full a round figure two.
Okay. Do we have any contrary response to that? Someone said 1 is on
because
fraction.
those two other sheets because those two other sheets were placed in decimal.
That's this and this.
Yes, the one that we have 9.5 and 22.7.
Okay. So thank you very much. So this is just to explain the concept of number format. So if you look at what we have here, what we can visually see is 2. That's because we have formatted it to say, oh, I want you to be formatted as a number in zero decimal place. But the actual number, the original number that exists is 1.9. But what we can see is 2. The real number is 1.9. Same thing goes to this other number, which is 4.5. We can see 5, but the original number is 4.5. So if someone sends you a workbook and you are saying, oh, 5 times 5, this person is meant to have 25. Why is this person having 22.5? You can say, okay, let me convert everything back to general. Then you would be able to say, okay, this is the original number. If you decide that, okay, I want this to be formatted as a currency, then you can see that what we are seeing that there is a Naira sign. That's what we can visually see. The Naira that we can see does not affect the original number that we have in that cell. But we formatted it in such a way that, oh, this is what I want to see. Please, do we get the concepts?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you look at this and this, please, what's the difference between the two? What is the difference between these two? What's the difference between this and this? So if you look at these two closely, what's the difference? Let's delete this. Aha. So what's the difference? Yeah, I know one is accounting, one is currency, but visually, you should be able to say this is the major difference.
So for me, okay.
One on green is highlighted. The currency, the sign is highlighted to the left, while the currency sign on the one on yellow is highlighted to the right.
Thank you very much. So the moment you see someone is working on Excel and you look at what the person is working on, you can easily say, oh, this guy is formatted as accounting. This other person is formatted as currency. So we need to understand the concept of number formatting. Now, the second thing is we say we have over 400 formulas in our Excel. These formulas, they have been housed in our formula bar, and they have also been categorized differently. So we have the ones for the financial. So those in finance, they would understand that, oh, I want to perform simple interest. This is the formula I need to use, the duration. So if you say you want to perform basic logical operations where you need to start using your true or false, your and, or your each number, you have them. If you also want to say you want to make use of your text functions, so you can see all of them under your formulas. So how do you now enable these formulas? So let's say I want to perform 2 plus 2. And I say equals, I select this 2 plus 2. And I hit my enter. I've just performed a sum function. There is a formula that what it does, the only function is for it to just add things together. That's a sum function. There are formulas that the only thing they do is to average. So how do you call them out? As soon as you type your equal sum, then you'd have them out for you. So what this does is, it adds all number in a range of cells for you. These are how you call out your formulas. If it is average that you want to do, you are saying, this is average. What it does is it would return the average of some selected numbers that you've assigned to it. It would do the average for you. So the only function of average is for you to average numbers. So let's say you want to count. So what this does is it only counts cells that contains numbers. That's just its own function. It does not do anything than that. How do you now enable it? So you say, I want to sum. You can enable it in 2 ways. When you say equal sum, is either you double click on it to enable it. That's the first option. Or when you say equal sum, or you use your tab key on your keyboard. Your tab key is beside your letter Q. So that's the 2 ways you can enable your functions. Please, do we guess that? So it's either you double click, or you use your tab key. So that's the 2 ways you can enable your function. Please, do we get that? Before we can now move to our practice 5 for today. Okay, so I'll assume that everyone in the class is understanding what we are saying. So we say that we have different functions. So what we want to start is, okay, we want to add numbers. So let's say I have different numbers and I want to add them together. How will I go about it? You can decide that, okay, you want to use the basic operator that we explained the other time, that, okay, you want to use your plus sign. So in this, so let's say I want to add my energy recovered. Someone can just say, equals this. Someone can say equals this plus this plus this plus this. That's what one person might decide that you want to do. Another person would say, okay, no, I don't want to go through that route. So we can say, we don't want to go through that route, that we want to use our sum function. So what does the sum function do? It only adds numbers. So then I say equals to sum. Then I double click on it or tab. Then I click and highlight the set of numbers that I want to add together. Then I hit my enter. Do we get that? while you are working with your Excel, the moment you press enter, what you would notice is as soon as you press enter, then your active cell goes to the next cell. When you press enter, it moves to the next cell. But when you want to maintain that same cell that you have, so I'm saying, oh, equals sum. And I don't want it to go to the next cell. All you just need to do is hold your control key, your control, then you press your enter. So it will remain in that same cell. So control enter will make you remain on the same cell. But when you press enter, it keeps going to the next cell. So you will still need to go back to the previous cell that you're working on. So let's also do that for the second table that we have on the right. And the shortcut key for you to sum, if you don't want to say you want to type equal sum, is your Alt key and the equal to sign. So when you press your Alt equal to, it is smart enough to understand that, oh, you want to sum some numbers. Please, do we get that? So what's the total amount for the second table? Please, what's the total amount for the second table? Oh, someone said no. So what is it that you do not understand? So I have Oluwadamilola Folashade and Emmanuel said no. So what is it that you do not understand here? So that I can easily go back. So I said, if you want to sum and you don't want to type your equals to SUM, the shortcut key is for you to press your Alt, ALT. You can see it beside your space bar. So you need to press your Alt, then equal to sign. So Alt equal to. So it would automatically select the numbers that you want to sum. However, you still also need to be careful because if you have a cross-tabulated table, then you need to check again that, okay, is this summing what I want it to sum? So when I say cross-tabulated, so let's say you have Control C, and we'll paste it here. And then we have another let's transpose this. Okay, good. Aha. So you have a cross-tabulated table like this, and you want to do a total here. If you press your Alt equal to, you need to recheck if that is what you want to sum. So let's say you want to do your total here now, and you press your Alt equal to, you can see that it's summing what we have on P3 to P6. It did not do for the left. So let's now see, we have text here now. So we have just we have and we have something here. So then I say alt equal to. You can see that now it knows that, oh, I want to sum a number. Let me go to the left. So while you are using your shortcut key, you still need to try to check if what you are trying to sum is what you want to sum. So you need to be careful when you are trying to use your shortcut key. So what do we have for this? 1 says 5200, okay. And for this other one, what do we have for this? $1,300. Okay. Okay, good. So now, what we have here is this guy is trying to tell us that I want you to sum the revenue for me if it is less than 5,000. If it is less than 5,000. So what we've done now is we have said, oh, we have done sum. So we said we have tried to use sum
on that side. I don't get it second place. This is what upstairs now. Near that.
So what sum does is it will sum numbers for us. Now, if there is not a condition to say that, oh, I want you to sum something for me, if and only if it meets this criteria, that is when I want you to sum for me. So just the way the name implies, sum if. Sum it for me if it is this. Sum it for me if it is greater than 5,000. Sum it for me if it is less than 5,000. So that's what the next here is telling us. So let me bring out the syntax for us. So this is sum if. So if you look at the syntax, so the syntax says the range, the criteria, then the sum range, which is what we want to sum. The range, the criteria, then the
So
sum
you are ready to get
range.
it done.
Please, that person should be.
Okay, is this time they told you? He will tell you now. Danny, please, you can unmute and continue.
Okay. So the range, the criteria, then the sum range. So now looking at this, can someone tell us the answer for this? For this table? So we are saying we want to sum our amount if it is greater than 9,000. So I'm saying equals to sum if. And the first thing is requesting for my range. So I'm saying this is my range. Then what's my criteria? I hit comma to move down to the next syntax. And my criteria is saying that if and only if it is greater than 9,000. So this is where the knowledge of our keyboard comes in. When we say, how do we enable those special characters? So when you are working in Excel, please take note of this. And you are working within a formula. And within your formula, you want to specify a text. It must be within a double quote. When you are making use of a formula, when you're trying to run a formula and you want to input a text within that formula, it must be in a double quote. So I'm saying if and only if it is greater than 9,000. Then I want you to sum it for me. So using this same process, so what do we have for the second table? We want you to sum it if the revenue is less than 5,000. So sum this revenue if it is less than 5,000. So I want you to just sum it, this revenue, for the ones that are less than 5,000. So class, what's our answer, please? So someone said we should repeat the last step. So we are saying we want to sum our amount. This is our amount. But we only want to sum you if you are greater than 9,000. So if you look at here, this is less than 9,000. So we don't have business with you. This man also, we don't have business with you. So I only want you to sum it for me if it is greater than 9,000. Then I'm saying I'm using equals to sum if. So what's my range? This is my range. Then comma. What's my criteria? The criteria that I've been given is if it is greater than 9,000. Greater than 9,000. Then 40,000. So for the next table on the right, can we also use the same step? We should sum this if it is less than 5,000. So what do we have? So I want someone to type in the formula that they have. People are just saying 8,000, 8,000. So can the person just type in the formula for us in the chat box, please? Just the way we have this formula, Control C. So someone is saying, because sum if, so I'm copying this person's, this is Babajide Adeyemo. So let's see if Mr. Babajide's formula would work. From G11 to, okay. Okay, good. So Gazier's formula to, okay, thank you. So it means we are getting it, okay. Now, the second one is the fill handle. If you remember, when we were displaying our cursor, we made mention of the fill handle. Where is the fill handle? Go, number 3. And as soon as you move your cursor to the fill handle, the cursor will change. So that's what we want to try to do here now. So if you go to cell E4, we have performed an operation there. So what we want to do is you click and drag down to cell E7. So what do we have as our answer? So when you move your cursor here, then you double click on it. What do we have as a formula on cell E7? Some C. Okay, good. Thank you very much. So, but take a closer look. When you double click on this, you will notice that you have someone is saying they can't find the exercise. It will be shared with you. And please kindly share the practice file with Adesola. So if you look at what we have here, let me undo Control Z. When you double click, when you move your cursor to this and you double click on this, you will notice that the first cell that is formatted yellow, as soon as you double click on it, the yellow is also copied down. Same thing as the formula. But the formula is smart enough to know that, oh, I want to sum cell C5 to D5, then the next one is C6 to D6. But what if we are not in a situation that Control Z, you're in a situation that you want to copy the formula down, but you don't want to copy the format. I want to copy the formula down to the last cell here, but I don't want to copy it with the yellow format. How do we go about it? Can someone just tell us how we can go about it? When we double click, we are copying the same format that we have above. We are copying it straight down. But in this case, we only want to make use of the formula. We don't want to copy it with the format. I only want it to run the formula alone. I don't want it to run the format. So can someone just brief us how it can be done?
Hello?
Yes, Mr. Patience Kalu.
Actually, I think when you draw you double click on it, there is a little box that appears at the bottom of it. Then when you click on it, you still fill without formatting. So when you click on it, the yellow sign will go away.
Thank you very much. We need to give this person a gift. So that's the first way. Let's undo Control Z. So when you double click, it copies down the format. If you don't want to copy down with the format, you can use this option. Then you fill without formatting. If you don't want to do that also, Control Z. When you highlight the cell that you want to copy the formula, and you put the first cell on edit mode, when you press your F2, it is on edit mode. Then you press your Control Enter, it will fill it down for you. Do you get that logic? Let me undo again, Control Z. So I've highlighted where I want to perform my operation. I put the first cell on edit mode. Then I say Control Enter to do the rest for me. That's another way. Control Z. Another person might also decide that, okay, I know you've done this. Then I copy what I have in my first cell. But instead of me to go and paste it here, I would right click and I'll only paste the formula. It is smart enough to say, oh, this person has copied a formula and this person wants to reuse this formula. So these are the three ways you can actually copy without the format. Please, we get that. So someone said we should repeat, okay. If, let's delete this. The process says that we should move our cursor to the lower right corner of the cell. So this is the lower right corner. And we are told to click and drag down. When you click and drag down, or you double click on it, it will do the same thing for you. But you'll notice that you have copied the format that you have on the first cell. You have copied it down. But what if we now have a case that it is only the formula that you have in the first cell that you want to make use of? You don't want to copy the format. How would you go about that? If you double click this, you have an icon that will come out for you. When you click on that icon, you can select the option of fill without formatting. That's the first option. If you don't want to do that, you would highlight the range of cell that you want to perform the operation. You put the first cell on edit mode, then Control Enter, then it will fill it down for you. That's the second option. If you don't want to do that, you can just copy the formula that you have in the first cell by using your Control C. Then where you want to make use of it, then you right click and paste formula. Someone is saying they don't have the practice file. Check your mail. I think it has been shared. So I want every one of us to be on the same page. So please, let's confirm that they have the practice file now. Okay. Thank you very much. So you can check your mail now. So you can also perform it by using your Control D. Your Control D is to duplicate it down. So let's say I have Omole Adesola. And I want to duplicate this down. If I highlight a range, then I do Control D, then it will fill it down for me. You can also do that. So you can do that here also. Highlight here, then Control D, then it will sum it for you. Control D. So do we get that? So do we get that? Can we move forward? What do you say? So can we move forward now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. So let's move down to our splits. Okay, good. So we have been making use of the sum, the fill handle. We have said how we feel. But if you work with some data, one way or the other, there are some scenarios, there are some cases where you need to perform one or two modifications. Either you want to join a text, either you want to split a text, either you want to find a character, either you want to know the number of character within a cell. There are some one or two text-related operations that you need to perform. But for a start now, what we want to do here is we want to separate the first name and the last name that we have here. So we have some emails here. And what we want to do is we want to separate them. There are different ways we can use to separate. So here now, we have a function here in Excel that is called flash fill. What it does is it tries to recognize a pattern. Then based on the pattern, it understands that, oh, this is what I want to do. So what I want to do here now is I want to bring out the first name. And I'll give it a pattern to say, okay, under my first name, I have Omoshewa. Then I type Omoshewa, enter. Then the next one is I type Franklin. So as soon as I type Franklin, if you look closely, you will see that there is a faint text that is showing beneath, telling us that, oh, is this what you want to do? Please, do you have that from your end too?
Yes.
Okay. So as soon as you press enter, then it does that for you. Do we get that? So you can also do the
Yes.
same. You can also do the same thing for what's that guy's name? Okafor. FO. Then you use your shortcut key, Control E. But if you feel where is the flash fill, you want to know where the flash fill is. If you go to, you have your flash fill code here. On your home tab, on your Excel, if you go to your home tab, and under your editing, can you see it, please? Under your editing, you should have your flash fill. Please, let's confirm if we also have that too. You should have your flash fill.
Yes.
Is either you use your Control E or use your flash fill. So here now, I'm saying I have Omoshewa. Then I have my Franklin. Then I enter. Then here I'll just say, oh, Okafor. Then I just say, oh, I don't want to go through that process, just do Control E. Then it will separate that for us. So let's now say we now have a case where we have these names, these two names. we want to join them together. We want to join them together. So there are different ways we can use to join. We can use our ampersand to join. So ampersand is a and sign, shift 7. Where's our shift 7? Good. You can use this ampersand sign to join a text. So I want to join Omoshewa and Arowolo, Franklin Okafor. I want to join the names together. So all I need to do is to say equals, I select my Omoshewa, then I say shift 7 and I select Arowolo, then control enter. Then I have Omoshewa, Arowolo. If I fill this down, then I have my Franklin Okafor, then Jimo Jimmy. Now, for the classwork, now I want someone to put the formula in the chat box. So join the two names together and let's have a space bar in between. Let's have a space in between the names using the and sign also. So let's join the first name and the last name, and we should have a space in between. So let's see how we can do that. So do we have an answer? We want someone to, let's join the first name and the last name, and let's have a space in between the names. So let me take this again. We want to join the first name and the last name. And we say we want to use the and sign, the ampersand sign. We want to use it to join the two names. Remember, we say if we want to perform any operation, it starts with equal to sign. Then I select the first name, then shift 7, and I select the second name. But now the classwork is join the two names together, but let's have a space in between. So I have someone saying, okay, let me copy Adedejo's formula here, Control C. Then let's paste it here, if it will work. Control V. Enter. It's not working. So can we have another person? So can we have someone do that for us? So I only have one response. Oluwadamilola, that I said we should recap. Are you still here?
Yes, I am. I'm still here.
Okay, good. So I have something from real one. So real one is giving us something to work with. Real one, your formula is not working. Just need to formula is not working. Escape. So let me put really one's formula here. So another one equals D5 and E5. We've done that now. So the only person that is a bit close is just really one and Adriga. So we are saying equals Omoshewa, and I made mention of it the other time that if you want to add a text within your added procedure, that your formula 2 won't work. But let's try it again. Let me copy this, Control C, then let's put it here again, Control V. It won't work, it's not working. I think someone has gotten the answer, yes. So you say equals Omoshewa, then and then we say we want to add space. Our space is also a character. Then space, I put it in double quotes. Then and I select my arrow holo. Then we have this. So then I can now fill this down. Do we get it? So let's try to see how we can read. Okay. Aha. So you should be able to see what was done here. Aha. So this is what we've done. So now, so let's say we now have, let's join this. Let's start a new row. Okay, good. So let's say we have Adiola, we have Samuel, we have Jimmy, we have Kafo, and we have Arulu. Okay, good. So let's join this and the ones highlighted in yellow and the ones highlighted in light blue. So let's join it together. Adding a space. So let's see. So someone said, which key is a double quote? You're not getting it. Okay. So if you look at your enter key, if you look at your enter key on your keyboard, there is a key beside your enter key on the left. When you press your shift and that key beside your enter key, that's the double quotes. So can someone just give us a formula that will join these, let's name these ones highlighted yellow and the ones highlighted blue. Join it together. Let's have spaces in between them, please. So can we have that before we move to the next? Because I think I have equals G5. Ctrl C. So let's paste Ctrl V. Equals J5 and H5 F2. Let's see what this person is referencing. Equals G5 and space by H5. The formula is not working. So equals this and space and this, then enter. Let's move this here. So we have this. So we now have 3 names. So now you have been told that, oh, this is first, middle, and the last name. And we want to separate these 3. How do we go about it? You can also use your flash fill. You can use your text to column. You can use your text plates. But for today, we will try to use our text to column. So I have some names here, and I want to split these names. But if you look at the names, there is something that is separating those names, which is the space bar. We have Omoshewa space, Arulu space, Adiola. We have John space, Jimmy. And we want to separate them. We want them to stand alone. So let's say I have a first name. I have a middle name. And I have my last name. And I want to separate these names. I want them to fill these 3 columns. How do we go about it? So you highlight the names that you want to separate. You go to your data tab. Under your data tools, you should have a text to column. When you click on your text to column, you would have a pane that will pop up. On that pane that pops up, you have 2 options. The one for delimited and the second one is for the fixed width. But for these, we want to use the delimited. Why? Because we have a delimiter that we want to use to specify how our data will be separated. You click on your next. Then here, I want to use space to separate my names. When you click on your space, you would have a preview of how the names would come out. When you click on your next, the next thing is the destination, where I want this to be, where I want it to stay. Then you click on this arrow facing up to locate the destination that you want it to be. So then I select my J5. I select that same arrow facing up. Then I click on my finish. Then I should have my names separated. Please, do we get that?
No.
Okay. So let me delete. But do you get it up to this place? Let me highlight it. Let me highlight these. Let's give these. Good. So I have the first name, the middle name, and the last name joined together. And I want to separate these names. I want to separate them. But if you take a closer look, the names are separated by space. You have Jimo space, Jimmy space, Jimmy, Mabel space, Samuel space, Okafor. So I want you to separate this thing for me. Anywhere you see a space, separate it for me. That's what I want to do. So I highlight the names that I want to separate. That's the first thing. Then on your ribbon, go and click on your data tab. When you click on your data tab, under your data tools, you should have text to columns. Do you have that?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So when you select your text to columns, you should have a dialog box that will pop up. Do you have that too?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in that dialog box, you would have an options telling you to choose a file type that describes your data. And there are two options, the delimited and the fixed width. Do you have that too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Then select your delimited.
Okay.
So when you select your delimited, then you click on your next. So under that, you should have delimiters. You should have tabs, semicolon, comma, space, and others. Do you have that?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Then go and check your space. Go and mark your space.
Okay.
So when you mark your space, you should have a preview of how your data would look like underneath. Do you have that?
Yeah.
When you select your space, you should have a preview of how your data would look like. And when you click on next, you should have an option telling you your column data format, your destination, and your data preview.
Okay.
Do we have that?
Yes, we have that.
Let me see if I can snip this.
Let me the customer talk.
Let me see if I can snip this. Okay. Then for the destination, when you click on the arrow facing up beside your destination, then you can select where you want your data to be. Someone say, I'm trying to split the three names. It's not doing. Okay. Only the first two is splitting. Okay. So I'll take it once again. You select the location, the destination you want your data to be. Then that arrow that you selected, now it is facing down. Select that arrow again. Then you click on finish. You should have your names separated like this. So for the person that is saying you do not understand it, first, do you have your names joined together like this? we have our names like this.
No, sir.
Okay. You should have your names listed like this. So what we try to do here is we try to join these three names, Omoshewarulu and Adiola. We try to join it here. We say equals this and space and this. And this. Good. Then we fill this down. Do you get it up to this place?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, good. Now, copy. Copy what you have, Ctrl C, highlight it, just copy it. Copy what you have, Ctrl C, copy it. Then paste it back in that same location as values. Paste it back as values. The formula that you have within that cell should disappear. Do you have that now? Do you have that now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now we want to separate the three names. So highlight the names that you want to separate. Under your data tab, go to your text to columns. Let's snip this for us so that we can see the text to columns. So if you check the chat box, you should have so when you select your text to column, you should have another dialog box showing. Do you have that?
Yes, sir.
So I'm sending this the chat box so that we can follow. So we can follow each other. So then you select your delimited, then you click on next. So under your delimiters, select your space. Do you have that now? As soon as you select your space, you should have a preview of how your data would look like. Are we on the same page, please? Then we click on next. So when you click on next, the next is for us to select the destination where we want this to be. So when you select your destination, okay, let me snip this also for us, how we can select our destination. So this is what we are to. Okay, good. We select our destination, then you select where you want the data to stay. Then you come back and select that same arrow again. Okay. By selecting this arrow. Good. So when you select that arrow again, then click on your finish. Then your name should be separated. So do we have this now? Okay. So now let's do so let's now do the same thing. So go to D32. So go to your D32 on that same sheet. Then let's split the first name, last name, and the company name. So let's split that. So in this case, you will see that what is separating the names is the comma. So someone is saying, how do we remove the formula? So what we did is we just copied what we have. We just copied what we have, just copied the names. We copied it. Then we paste it back in that same location as values. When you paste, you see as 1, 2, 3. You paste as values, then the formula would disappear. So now let's separate the name, first name, last name, and the company name. So let's do that now into 5 seconds. So do we have, is someone done? So we have Ifeoma Uyawuni. I hope I've not murdered this person's name. So Ifeoma, are you following us?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we have Abiodun Fakoya. Abiodun Fakoya is done. Okay. So in this case, all we just need to do is highlight the names. Then we click on our text to column, delimited. We click on next. So instead of us to use space, in this case, we are using comma. Then you should separate it by comma next. We click on our location, then finish. Is it already? Okay, good. Then we have this. So do we have anyone that don't understand this before we move to the next? Mr. Oluwadamilola, your hand is raised. You can go ahead. Mr. Oluwadamilola, you can go ahead.
Okay.
Regarding the what's called, I'm lost, especially the place where you separated the names. That after the joining of the names, I just got the joining of the 2 names, then joining of 3 names. Now just to separate it, first name, middle name, and last name. So I'm lost there.
Okay. So now, have you gotten this? Let me delete this. Let me delete this. And let's delete this. So now take a closer look. I said
Okay.
equals this, okay, and I join it together with my space, and I join it with Adiola.
Yeah.
So you got it to this point like this. So did you get it to this point?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. Now the next thing I said is copy this, highlight it and copy, Control C. Have you copied it?
Okay, I'm coming. Okay, yes, I've done that now.
Then on that same location, just right click and paste as
Yes.
values. You see 1, 2, 3. That's paste as values.
Okay, yes, I've seen that.
So when you paste as values, you'll see that you won't have any formula within those cells.
Okay.
Now, step 1 is done. The step 2 is we want to separate the names. Shay,
Yes.
highlight the names that you want to separate. Have you done that?
Yes, I've done that.
So then go to your data tab on your
But
toolbar.
why doing that? It brought down the same name for everything.
It can't bring the same name for everything. If you get it to this point, let me undo Control Z. Did you get it to this point where we have Omoshewaru Adiola?
Yes,
Do you get it
I
to this
got to
point?
that point. Yes.
And you have Franklin Okafor Samuel.
Yes, Jimo,
Good.
Jimmy, yes.
Thank you. So highlight everything from the first cell, highlight it to the last cell. Have you done that?
Yes, I've done that.
Then copy, Control C. Have you done
I've
that?
done that. Yes.
So move your cursor to the first cell where you have that Omoshewa Aru Adiola. Move your cursor to that point.
Okay.
Then right click.
Right click, I've done that.
Under your paste option, you will see paste as values. That's the one with the 1, 2, 3 sign. Then select that.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I've done that.
So do you still have the formulas within those names?
Yes, I still have the formulas within those names.
Then definitely you have not done what we say you should do now.
Okay.
So I'll go back again for the last time. Let me delete this.
Okay, thank you.
So just take a closer look. So it has been deleted, Shay. Just look at the screen, please. So equals, I've selected this and my space and then the last name, then enter. Then I fill this down. That's the first thing. If you look at your formula bar, you can see that there's a formula for all of them. You can see that there's a formula. Good.
Yes.
Then I highlight all these. Then I copy Ctrl C. Then I right click. Then I paste as 1, 2, 3. That's all. If you look at each of them now, you won't see any formula within them.
Okay, yes, there's no formula within them.
Thank you. Now, the next one is I want to separate the 3 names. I've highlighted the names I want to separate. I only highlight them. I highlight the names I want to separate.
Yes.
Then on my tools bar, I click on my data. Then I select my text to columns. So when I select my good, then you click on your delimited.
Okay.
Then you click on next.
Next. Okay.
Then under the delimiters option, you should have tab, semicolon, comma, space, and others.
Yes.
Then select your space.
Yes.
So when you select your space, you should have a preview of how your data would look like under it.
Yes.
Are you following?
Yes, I am.
Then click on your next. So when you click on next, you should have your column data format, your destination, and data preview.
Yes.
Under your destination, you should see an arrow facing up beside.
Yes, yes.
So click on that arrow and go and select a location that you want the names to be.
Okay, I've done that.
That arrow that you selected before, go and select it again. Then you click on your finish.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
So now you can do that for what you have on D32. Separate the names that you have on your column C. That's your C32 to C39. So someone is now saying, if 3 names are written together, how can we split them? So that's when you can now use the other option. So if the 3 names are split, are joined together, there is no space, there is nothing to separate them, you don't have any direction, you can now say, oh, you want to use, let's use equals this and this and this. So let's say this is what you have. Let's say this is what you have for that person. So the 3 names are joined together. There is nothing separating them. And you have been told to separate this. Then it means you need to have a direction. Is that they tell you, oh, split this thing, either 4 characters or 5 characters, or split this thing using a ruler, maybe after 5 or 7 characters. If it's like this, Omoshewa character is more than Franklin. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If it is Franklin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here, no direction. People have different names, different numbers of characters. And you're telling us to separate it. No problem. We'll separate it. Or we'll use a ruler to separate it. Then I'll say text to column. Then I can use a fixed width. Now in this scenario, I'm the one fixing a width that this will separate for me. Then I'll say next. And now I have my ruler here. Then I'll say, okay, separate from here, then from here. Since you did not give me any direction, then I click on next. Then I will find a destination. I'll say, okay, let me put it here. Then I'll say finish. So did you see this? For the person that is saying, if the three names are joined together, how do we split them? So there are other formulas also that you can use without you going through the text to column. You have your text plates equals text plates. What you use that for is you select where you want to split, then you specify your delimiter. That's how you use your text plates. So I doubt if some of us will have that function. So let's say I want to use my text plates. I say equals text plates. So where is my text? This is my text. Then comma. What's my delimiter? My delimiter is my space. Then I close it and enter. These are separated the names for me. So as simple as that. Then I can run this down. So let me copy this. Escape. Let me copy this and paste that here for us. So now we're moving down to the transpose. So when we say transpose, what we are trying to say is our data that is in row, we want to let it to be in column. The one that is in column, we want to let it be in row. That's just the meaning. When you say you want to transpose, you are converting your rows to column, and you are converting your columns to rows. That's the transpose. And there are two ways. Is either you use your transpose function or you use the copy and paste as transpose. That's the two ways that you can use. So now, can someone just copy this? Then when you want to paste it, when you right click, then you should see paste as transpose. You should see the transpose paste option. Please, do we have that? Do we have that?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, thank you. So now, using the formula, which is transpose, can someone just paste the formula for us in the chat box using the transpose function? Let's see if someone is following us. So kindly transpose what we have on C33 to H34. Can we have the answer? If you do this, because let me copy your formula. Let's see. if your formula will work. Control V. Enter. Okay, good. Now, Mr. Abiodun Fakoya, go to your cell D43. D43. Copy out the formula that you have there. Cell D43. Copy out the formula that you have here. So, Mr. Fakoya, so what do you have on your D43? Do you have any formula on your D43? You didn't get the question. How did you get the answer? Okay. So you've given us the answer to the question. So I'm now saying go to your cell D43. Go to your cell D43. What formula do we have in your cell D43? Okay. I think, oh, you're not saying formula on, okay, I'm not seeing any formula on mine. Okay, someone is saying I have 40. You can't. We said both formula. You still have 40. No. When you click on this cell, after using the paste with transpose, so we are saying we are not using paste with transpose. So if you go through the instruction, so let's delete this. Then we are saying when you say equals transpose, when you transpose, then it's requesting for the array. Then you select the array. So when you select the array, instead of you to press enter, press Ctrl Shift enter or F2. Let me close the bracket for us. Ctrl Shift enter. If you fill this down, try our transpose, it won't work. I know. So who can find our error for us? I created another cell for the transpose. No. Mr. Abiodun Fakoya, I don't have any response from you. I only have response from Patience. I created another cell for the transpose. No. No. Just follow the 5 steps and tell me the formula that is within your D43 or D42. I need to know if we are all following each other or I'm just speaking to myself. So instead of us using the Control C, we highlight this, Control C, then you paste as transpose. Then we are saying no. There's another way for you to transpose using the transpose function equals transpose. So follow these 5 steps, then transpose it. Let's have our answer here. What do we have? So on D43, you would have a faint formula. Okay, good. So it means you do not follow these 5 steps. So look at these steps again, then follow it. I have 40 in my D3. Yes, but what's the formula that you have within your D3? So if you look at your formula bar, you will see that, let me bring out the formula that is shown for us. This is what you are meant to have in each formula. So this is what you are meant to have in each formula, in each of the cells. Please confirm if this is what you have in each of the cells. If you just try to do equals, let me find an empty place. If we just try to do equals transpose, if you try to do equals transpose and you select this, and you select this, then enter, you would only have your formula in the first cell alone. For every other cell, the formula that you have will be faint. You won't have anything. So it means if I type something here, it will show me an error. That's a spill error. What this is saying, oh, I want to spill, but somebody is trying to block me. That's the meaning. That's why I requested for what do you have in your D43 formula. But if you do it the other way around, you should have a formula within each cell. Please confirm that too. So I hope we all understand the concept of the transpose. I would assume we all understand. Okay, Mr. Beautiful Akoya, your hand is raised. You can go ahead, Mr. Fakoya. Mr. Fakoya, you can go ahead. Your hand is raised.
Hello, sir. For the transpose, for D43, the formula is not coupling. I don't know what is happening to my own side here. Once I try to copy it, will not copy it. It will be blank.
Okay. So that's because, okay, this is what you've done. Just take a closer look. Oh, delete. Just hold on. Let me delete this for you. Aha, good. So this is what you did. Equals transpose. This is what you did, though. Equals transpose. Then you selected this. Then enter. This is what you did. That's if I'm correct. Then you would only have your formula in the first cell. That's where you can only copy your formula. But for the other cells, the formula that you have will be faint. It's like a ghost formula. You can only see it, but there is nothing within that cell. That's what you're trying to see in your system. But the trick about it is highlight where you want to transpose, then equals transpose. Then I'm saying this is what I want to transpose. Then I press Ctrl Shift Enter. Then you should have a formula within all your cells. So if you take a closer look now, you should have a formula for all of them. Okay, good. So now, we'll be moving to the sort and filter. How do we sort? How do we filter? So first, the shortcuts for you to filter is Ctrl Shift L. I mean, it's Ctrl plus Shift and plus L. That's your shortcut for your filter. You want to enable your filter. So we have been given a large data set. I know one way or the other, we would have to work with our customer listing, either status 2 and 4, postpaid listing, one thing or the other. And we will want to sort our data, either ascending or descending, either from highest to lowest or from lowest to highest. So irrespective of the type of data you are inputting, the formula didn't work for me. Okay, we'll come back to that. Irrespective of the type of data you are working with, Excel is smart enough to know that, oh, this is a text, I need to sort ascending. This is a number, I need to do a number sorted. This is a date, I need to do from oldest to newest. If it is a number, from the highest to the smallest. Then if it's a text, then I need to filter from either ascending or descending. So now, in this case, we want to sort our business units. We want to sort from A to Z. So we want to sort our business units alphabetical order. So if you don't want to use the shortcut key, that okay, this is where we are, and we're on our home tab. How do we go about it? Then on your home tab, under your editing, you should have your sort and filter. And the filter icon looks like a funnel. So when you click on the filter icon, then you'd have an icon showing at the top of your data, like a letter V. So now you want to sort this from A to Z. If you just click on anywhere, just click on any cell, then you see sort A to Z. If you right click on any of the cell, you should see your sorts. Then you should see sorts from A to Z or from Z to A. Do we get that? So in this scenario, we want to sort from A to Z. This has been sorted. The second one says that we should sort from largest to smallest. So here we can use our sort and filter, then we can do from largest to smallest. So if we are within the text, if you come here, you can see that it has changed to sort from A to Z. But as soon as you are within a number, it is now from largest to smallest or from smallest to largest. So here we want to do largest to smallest. So we are doing largest to smallest. So same thing goes to the dates. You can sort by your color. You can sort by number. You can sort by text. So in this case, we want to sort from oldest to newest. So here, this has changed to oldest to newest. When you right click also, when you right click, then under your sort, you should have sort from oldest to newest or newest to oldest. Please, do you have any question on this before we move to the next one? Do you have any question? Can we continue? Mr. Kitola Akiemi, can we continue? Madam Ngozi Tunde Balogun, can we continue? Madam Dami Ilori, can we continue? Okay, I tried the color sorting, but it didn't work. Kindly share the recording of the lecture with us, sir. So we want to sort using color. So when you sort by color, so you can see sort by color, then I want to sort by yellow. When you click on your yellow, then it sorts by the color first, followed by the ones without color. Let me undo this. So if I want to do the same thing, then I sort by the no fill. The ones without color will come first, then followed by the ones with the color. So I would assume we understand this concept of sorting before we move to table. So Let me try to copy this and put it on our practice. Okay, good. Control C. Okay, good. And I'm copying the same person. And I'm pasting it here. So please, class, the table on the left and the table on the right-hand side, please, which one is a table and which one is not a table? Said the right side is a table. So why is the left-hand side not a table? How do we know that the right side is a table? I think I only have 3 or 4 people in class today. Every other people just joined, just logged in. The right side is a table.
Because you can differentiate it with the colors. I think is blue and white, so kind of you can easily differentiate it. I guess that's why it's a table.
Okay. So which one is a table? Mr. Abiodun Fakoya, which one is a table?
Okay, the one at the right-hand side.
This is a table.
Yes, now the right-hand side, yes.
So how do you differentiate the two first?
Okay, for you to place your file on a table, it always comes in a filter mode.
Okay. Let me copy. Okay. Let me copy this. Control C. And let me paste it here. Okay, good. So let's clear this. Aha. Where's my clear? And good. So which one is the table? Let me do the left and the right. So which one is the table here now? Someone said color. Now there's no color. So which one is a table between the two?
To me, the right is a table.
The right is a table. Someone says both are
Yes, sir.
tables. Let's pray that this table will not break. So because we have our data and they have someone said I don't confuse. None are table. So we have a table. We definitely have a table. So because our data is formatted or because it has a border, it doesn't mean it's an Excel recognized table. So both are table because they have features. Okay. Because this have border, or let's say, let me do this. Let's give this one a format. So if we are given this a format, let's say we are giving you this format. Okay, good. Because this has a format, because this has a border, doesn't mean this is an Excel recognized table. Because this, let's say this, does not have a border now. Let's say no border. It doesn't mean this is not a table. So now the truth is, the one on the left is a table, and the one on the right is not a table. The one on the left is a table, and the one on the right is not a table. How do you know if it is a table or not? If you take a closer look at your tools bar, if you look at your tools bar, you have your home, insert, page layout, formula, data down to your help. As soon as you convert your data to a table, you have an extra ribbon, an extra design, a table design that will pop up on your tools bar. Just take a closer look. As soon as I select this, you'd have a table design, which is telling us that this is an Excel recognized table. But if I click on this other one, you don't have it. So this one on the right-hand side is not a table. So how do you now convert to an Excel recognized table? Okay, someone said I should recap. Okay. So now let's go back to our practice file. So if you look at this, this is not a table. Even if you put a border, this is not an Excel recognized table. Because it has borders doesn't mean it's an Excel recognized table. So this is just you typing your data in a flat file. You're just typing your data in your cells. If you want to make this an Excel recognized table, it means you convert it to a table. You would format it as a table. So if you go to your styles, you will see format as table. That is when it is now a recognized table. Then you click on OK. Now this is a recognized table. You can now have your table design. If you don't want to go through that route, you can use your shortcut key, Ctrl+T, which means you want to convert to table. It would ask you, does your table have headers? My table has headers. I check that. Then I click on OK. So this is an Excel recognized table. Do we get the difference now?
No, sir.
Okay. Let me copy this, Ctrl+C, and let's put it here. Aha. Then let's paste it here again. Look at the one on the left-hand side. Let's keep the one on the left-hand side and the one on the right-hand side. If I put border here, if I put anything border, or if I format this, I know we are finding it difficult to understand because what we have in our head is that, oh, the moment you have a header, you have a border, then that's a table, fine, no problem. That's in a tabular format. But Excel recognized a table when you format something as a table. It's like an inbuilt function to say, oh, this particular set, oh, it is a recognized table. if you do not format it as a table, it is just seeing it as a normal data that you just type in your cell. So I want to convert what I have on my right-hand side. I want to convert it to a table. I want Excel to recognize it that, oh, this is an actual table. What I need to do is just do Control-T, convert to table. If you don't want to do that, you can see format as table option. So you can pick any of the style that you want. If you don't want to use that also, you can use your insert, then table. You can see create table, then okay. Now this is an Excel recognized table. You would have your table design. It will pop up for you. But if you click on the one on the left, you don't have table design. It is not recognizing this one as a table, but it is recognizing the one on the right-hand side as a table. Do we get the difference now?
Yes, sir.
So the one on the left-hand side is not recognized as a table because it has not been formatted as a table. Fine, we know if we type anything and it is in tabular form, we'll say, oh, this is a table. Put it on a table. Fine, that's when you are speaking English, you are telling somebody to put it in a tabular form. But like an extra function, an inbuilt function to recognize that, oh, this particular person is a table. That's the difference between the two. You can decide that, oh, I don't want this table design. I want another design. You can pick another design that you want, no problem. But this is a recognized table. But the one on the left is not a table. Now, table makes your work easier. By the time we want to start doing makings of our pivot table, we would understand why table makes our work easier. So we can also make calculations using our table. One other function that table makes use of is, you can see that we have Oshodi here. And we have Oshodi here. When I type, let's say Shomolu now, and I type Abulegba, if you look at this, as soon as I type Shomolu, you can see that it has extended. The table recognizes that, oh, there's a new input. That, oh, this is part of my family. If I move to the right and I say January, when I type enter, the table recognizes that there's a new input. But if I come here and say January, it's not recognizing anything. If we want to perform some calculated columns operation on our table, either we want to know the count of our business units, or let's say we want to know the average, without you inputting your formula, without you typing any formula, table will make it easy for you. Let's say we want to know the total rows. So let's come here and use this as an example. So let's delete this. Okay, good. Now I want to know my total. I want to know my sum for October. Instead of me typing my formula, I can just select my to drop down and select sum to do it for me. But if you want to do the same thing here, you need to come and say equals sum. You need to type your formula, then you come and select the range before you do that. If you decide that you want to know the count here, you need to come back to your formula to change this to count. But for table, you can just select your drop down, then do for count. Then it's telling me I only have 8 inputs here. Do we get the difference? Let me undo this. So how can we enable this? When you are within your table and you go to your table design, you will see your total rows. When you click on your total rows, then that option comes up for you. You can decide to use your alt equal to also. Your alt equal to sign. You'd have your total rows. Then you now have multiple options to say, okay, I want my maximum. So here it's telling me, oh, my maximum number is 40,000. But if you want to do that for the table on for the one on the left, you need to say equals a maximum. Then you'll have to select your range. If you want the minimum here, all you just need to do is select minimum. Then it will give you the minimum value. If it is the maximum, why are we having 40K? Let's separate you by comma. Let's see. Okay, so we're right. So our maximum is 4 million, then our minimum is 400,000. Okay. So these are some of the benefits of table. And table can easily recognize that, okay, we have a new input. This is part of our family. If you are using pivot tables, when you have new data sets and you want to update your reports, if it is not in table format, it won't recognize the new data that you've included. If you use a table will make it easy for you. As soon as you input new data, or when you refresh your pivot tables, it will know that, oh, I have new data. But if it is not in table format and you use a pivot table, it won't recognize the new data that you've inputted. Please, any question before we move to the, I think it's one before. Amrach Solomon, please, how many minutes do we have left? So that people will be saturated. Amarachi.
Yes. Abdulgani?
Yes. How many minutes do we have more?
Actually, you're out of time, hopefully till 1 o'clock.
Okay. Okay. So, class, any question? Any question? Any question? So, how do I get the total? Okay. So let me, when you go to your, so this is a table. When you go to your table design, when you select your table design, ensure that you are within your table. Then you go and enable your total row. When you click on the total row, then you should have your total beneath. Then you can now select any operation. I want to count For my October, I want to know my average. For my November, I want to know my maximum. And for my December, I want to know my minimum. So any other question? So question, feedback. So someone said regarding the three names being joined together without space, how do we use formula to separate it? So we've made mention of that again, that if you want to separate names and you want to use formula to separate it, then it means you need to have a direction. Are you separating them after a particular character? Are you separating them after, well, what should I put it? After a numbers of sets or a type of character? Are you saying, oh, find A, when you now see A, separate it for me? So you have Oluwadamilola and Adebayo. And you say we should use formula to separate this name. The only thing you can say is you want to extract out of Oluwadamilola or you want to extract Adebayo. That's different thing. You are not separating it. But if you are saying you want to separate it, it means there should be something that will direct us to separate. Is it space bar? Is it column? Is it tab? But if you are saying there's nothing that would give us direction, you can now say, okay, you want to separate or you want to extract some characters, then I can say, okay, no problem. How many characters do I have? 1, 2. How many characters do I have here? Equals len. So I have 20 characters. I can now say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can say, oh, bring out 13 characters from me from the left. I can say, okay, equals left, this person, then bring out 13 characters. Then it will bring out Oluwadamilola. Then I can say equals to right. Then I can say for this person, give me 7 characters. So this one, we are extracting it characters. We are not separating it. But if you have a name that is joined together and you want to separate them with formulas, then you must have a delimiter. You must have something that will make it easy for you. Is it a space? Let's go back to our data, text to column. Aha, is it a comma? Is it a tab? If it is an extra character, maybe a slash or a backspace, a backslash, there must be something that would you want to separate it with. So any other, someone said, I tried to input January in the table, but it didn't create a new row like yours. Okay, so it's easy. So let's copy this, Control C. Then let's come here. Then I've pasted it here now as values. So we want to convert this to a table. So Control T, then OK. So besides my count, I want to put January. Let's see if the table will automatically pick it. So I say January, enter. The table has picked it. So underneath Oshodi, then I say I want to type Ikorodu, then enter. The table has picked it. Can we join three names in different cell into one cell the same way we did. So I have blessing. I have blessing tab. I have Ade Lucy on another cell, and I have external another cell. So you want to join these three names together in one cell? Yes, it's possible. So equals blessing, and I want to put a space in between, and I select my Adelusi, and I want to put a space and external, then enter. What's wrong? What did I do? Oh, slash. Enter. So yes, it's possible. You can do it. So any question? Any question? So thank you very much, everyone. So someone says, kindly explain how to split not using text to column. Okay, good. So I have this name here. So I'll use, who is that? Abiodun Fakoya. Okay, good. So let's use, so I'll use two options. So I have Abiodun, and I'll use slash, I'll use Fakoya slash, and I'll use unverified. Unverified. Good. So without using text to column, we should separate blessing, Adelusi, and external. Without using text to column, we should separate Abiodun Fakoya and verified. No problem. So we have a text split equals text splits. So text splits. So these are text splits. So the first syntax is text. What do we want to separate? Then I'll say, this is what I want to separate. Then comma. Then the next argument is column delimiter, which is our direction in this case. What should I see? The moment I see this thing, then I'll separate. Then I'll say, oh, I want, anytime you see space bar, separate it for me. Then I'll put my space bar, I'll put it in quotes. Then I enter. So as soon as it sees a space, then it separates it for me. So same thing for this also. I can say equals text splits. What do I want to separate? I want to separate this, comma. What's the limiter? It is slash. Then I'll say, okay, anytime you see this slash, then separate it for me. Then I enter. Then it is separated. Do we get that? So do we get that, Mr. Okay, thank you very much. Someone is saying I don't have text splits So what you need to do is check the version of your Excel. Are you using the latest version? You can use 2020 Excel 2021 and above. And if you don't have that, you can also download the WPS. You would have that also. So just the way the name implies, sum if. So you want to sum something if it meets a criteria. So I have this that I have here in, let me copy this out for us. Let me copy this. Then escape, control, escape. Aha, good. Control C, and let's paste it here. Okay, good. So for the person that is saying we should do some if again. So now, if I say sum it if it is greater than, let's say 400K, 400, 1, 2, 3, good. We are told to sum this, let's call this revenue. And let's call this B, good. So the condition says that sum this, also sum this if it is greater than 400,000. So it is the ones that are greater than 400,000 that you should sum for me. Anyone 400,000 less than, I don't want you to sum it for me. Then I'll say, okay, no problem. Equals to sum if. Yes, under normal circumstance, would I need sum if? Yes, definitely. So the sum if, what it does is it's sum for a given criteria. If it meets it, then it would sum it for you. The sum ifs, the one, okay, under what? So I want to know the PPM managers or HR that their age are greater than 30. I can say sum the salary of people that their experience in IE is greater than 5 years. I can say, oh, sum the revenue for PPM managers that they collected above 500,000. So there are many conditions that you need to use sum if. So I'm saying equals sum if was my range. This is my range. This is my range. Then comma, was my criteria. My criteria is greater than 400,000. 400, 1, 2, 3. That's my criteria, comma. Sum range. What do I want to sum? I want to sum my revenue, then enter. What's wrong with this one? Okay. It's jobs. Then my revenue, enter. So this is summing the ones that are greater than 400,000. My text split is not working, sir. Your text split is meant to work. So equals text splits. So follow the syntax. So look at the arguments for your text splits. Let me copy it and paste it here. Just follow the syntax, then it should work. So any other question? I tried putting space using text to column on a name that there is no space. Yes, it won't work now. You are saying your name is Oluwadami Mola. Oluwadami Mola. Enter. There is no space here, and you want to separate this by space. It won't work. You go to your data, text to column, next, then you select space. Next, then you finish. Don't do anything, it won't work. The only thing that will make
Okay,
it
no,
work is if you have
I'm
an extra space. I'm with you now.
okay, hello, sir. Okay,
Yes, I'm with
what I
you.
was trying to say is that the name and the surname, like name, middle name, and surname, so they're all together without no space. So how do you put in space using that text and text to column? We know if there is a comma there, you click on comma for you to remove it. That's to separate them, like first name, middle name, last name. So this one now, they are now together without no space in between. So how do you not separate them? Like not even separating, giving space to each.
So you have,
That there's a space in between.
okay. So that's Oluwadamilola. Oluwadamilola, what is your name first? Oluwadamilola on very.
Okay, Lawanson.
Oluwadamilola, what we call it?
Lawanson.
Wow. Oluwadamilola. L-A Lawanson. Okay, like this. So we have many A's here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 A's here. So we won't use the big formulas since the beginner session. So now you want to put space in between Oluwadamilola and Lawanson. You want to separate them. Here, there's nothing that we can use to separate. But the easiest way that I can use to separate this is to extract Oluwadamilola. I'll extract Oluwadamilola, join it with space, and I'll extract Lawanson, then join the 3 together. So what do I mean? So Oluwadamilola is how many characters? So Oluwadamilola is how many character?
13. 13.
13. Just take a closer look. I'll say equals to left, go to this text, then extract 13 characters for me. You can see Oluwadamilola is out. How many
Okay.
character is Lawansin?
Eight.
8. Then I'll say equals right. Go to this text, then give me 8 characters. Now, Lawansin is out. Shey? I can now decide to join these two together back. I can now say, oh, equals Oluwadamilola and space and Lawansin. Now it is done. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if it is another person that wants to write it now, I know it is 13 and 8. So this is what I'll do. I'll say equals left. Just take a look at the formula. Equals left. Come here. Then give me 13 characters. Then join it with space